Hi there, welcome to Transcona Trailer Sales. Today we're walking you through your 2023 Chaparral 355. We are just going to start off with the back of the unit. If you notice up top, you're pre-mounted for an observation camera. If you'd like to get set up with that, just contact the parts department. They'd be more than happy to help you out. Also located at the back is going to be your main power supply cord. You get a 50 amp service on this end here. You're just taking note of that silver strip there. It lines up with this silver strip on this side. Once you do line those up, press that into place, 8 turn to lock it in, and then you got that threaded color to really lock it down. If you follow that cord back, you do your standard 50 amp plug-in. Now a lot of campsites may not have this, especially around here in Manitoba. That's why we do include this 30 amp dog bone adapter. Just keep it in mind when you do go down to 30 amps of power, you're not going to be able to run both air conditioners at once. Realistically, you can just run one air conditioner at once. And then we also do include a 15 amp perk adapter to go down from that 30. But with that, no air conditioners, realistically, just to run your fridge and your lights. On this side of the bumper here, pulling on the cap will pop out of place. That is where you store your sewer hose. Right here, this is going to be the black tank flush. The way you use that, you do have to have the sewer hose connected and the black tank valve open. It's very important you do so, otherwise you do run the risk of bursting your tank. So whenever you're using that, just keep in mind you are having to do all that. And then right at the back here, this is going to be the first of your sewage dumps. This is going to be your galley, your black, and your gray. You're always going to want to empty your black first. This is going to be your dirtiest water filled from your toilets, and then you combine that with your 2 other grays, which will be typically cleaner water filled from your sinks and your showers. Sewer hose connects up to this pipe here, just like so. A little bit more further ahead, you have another drain. This is going to be for your galley tank, of course, and then you do have your fresh tank drain right here. Taking that cap off, it's going to be how you drain all your water out of your lines. Furnace exhaust, whenever your furnace is running, this will be blowing out hot air, so just be mindful of that. And then when you come into the first side of your storage compartment, it does go straight through to the other side. You get kind of your main hookup center here. Right at the front, you have this light switch. It does turn on some accent lights at the front of the trailer. And then you got your leveling system. Pushing that power button, you do have to have 12 volt on, so you have to have your battery connected. If you turn it to the off position, it does become disconnected. This is also how you're going to be hitching up and down to move up those legs up and down. And if you want it to auto level, it's just as simple as hitting the auto level button. The jacks will all automatically run themselves down, stabilize the unit, and make yourself nice and level. To retract it, you just have to hit retract, hit and hold retract. It will retract all the jacks. In addition to that, there's a bunch of other different settings you can play with, including a manual level mode. You got your auto retract rear. You also have your auto hitch mode, which you can set up. Again, I'm going to recommend going over to the owner's manual to set all that up, or just right here, kind of runs you through a good list of everything. Outside here, you got your hot outside shower, hot and cold water. You got your second black tank flush for the second bathroom that's up front. That back one is going to be for your back main bedroom. This one is for your front one. Again, it's just very important that you do have the valve open, and it's important you use it after every couple of uses for sure. City water hookup, that's where you're going to hook up your water hose, whether you're filling your fresh tank or just using city water. You also have your 2 last drains. You got your galley, and of course your body waste, which is your black. Always empty that black first, and that's going to be for that front sewer section. That rear sewer section, again, has its own stuff. 110 volt plugins here, and then you have some cable satellite hookups in case you're getting set up with that. Little light to turn on in case you're hooking up at night. And then you got all these different valves. So we currently have it in winterization mode with the hot water heater bypassed, and you're in the city water hookup / winterize. So if you're wanting to use city water, that's how you would do so. If you wanted to fill your fresh tank, you'd have to turn this valve to the left, leave this guy up. System use, at that point you're turning this guy up, you're turning this guy to the left. Like I said, you just follow the legislative and it'll lead you into the right direction of what you need to do. The unit is already currently winterized. In addition, right down below here, you got your 2 low point drains. So if you're doing your winterization, it's always a good idea to crack these guys open once you're done to allow most of the antifreeze out of the lines. Or if you're leaving the unit for a while, don't want the water going stale or stagnant, letting all the water out, it's always a good idea. You do get your antifreeze bypass hose here. So in case you had your pail of antifreeze, you just take off the cap, replace it with this, stick this into your pail of antifreeze. This is going to be the first of 2 propane tanks. You got 2 30-pounders. This is the one for this. This is on this side. We will be going to the one on the other side to show you. Inside here, open up these louvers. That'll open up inside. You got a massive storage compartment inside of here. You do have endless amount of storage throughout this unit. Just of course, whenever you are using any of it, being mindful of drains, water lines, and wiring. You're not going to be wanting to affect any of that there. Inside this box is your battery. So you just have to undo all the wing nuts and lift that off to change that battery out. That's about it for inside of here. Now back to the driver passenger side here. So this is exactly what you're going to have on the other side. Crack that valve open like so. Opens up the flow of propane nice and slowly, of course. Now if this tank were to go dry, you can close it off, remove it, flip this regulator. There's a little selector valve here. You can flip it to the other side and start drawing off the other tank, but you do have to actually manually flip this over for it to start drawing off the other side. Inside here, there's just going to be some more storage, of course, on the other side here. This crank here, this is going to be the crank down for your spare tire, which is located underneath the unit. Got some more plugins. Got your range hood flap up there, so you always, whenever you get to your campsite, want to flip that open. You're probably going to need a step ladder. I'm about almost 6 feet tall, and I can't even get close to reaching it, so step ladder is going to be a great investment. But you want to undo that flap once you do get to your campsite. That way your range hood's actually evacuating anything. And then once you're done camping, making sure you do close it off to stop any critters from getting inside and excess dust. A couple plugins, with your hot water heater service port. Opening up that guy, really the only thing you need to worry about, hit that pressure relief valve. There should be a shot of water coming out of it, letting you know that the tank's full. If there's no water coming out, it's letting you know that the tank's empty. We currently have the tank empty and winterized for customer pickup. Punch that into place, and now for the best part, you can't take a step on inside. You're just going to take that assist handle, push it up, holding it 90 degrees. It's going to lock it into place and allow you to open up the door. You have to have your door open all the way for you to get your stairs down. Pull on the latch, pull these guys towards you. You do have adjustable feet, so you can have nice and level stairs for your campsite. Flip down. Ideally, you want to have this black plate as close to your silver catch plate as possible, so that door can go inside, in and out freely without binding or anything. Once we do take a step on inside this binder here is going to be all your manuals and stuff like that. And then you got your main fuse and breaker panel off on your left, right below your fire extinguisher, which is going to be very important, just like home. Pull the pin and shoot. Whenever breaker trips, it'll sit in the middle, so you just have to turn it off and then back on again to reset it. And then all your corresponding fuses are on the right. Once we do take a step on inside, you got some accent lights on their own center push button over here. And then once you come inside, you got some entryway lights you can turn on to turn on most of the main living space lights. You got awning lights, exterior lights, which turns on those accent lights I was telling you about on the outside. And then you got your 2 water heater options. You can fire it on either gas or electric. If you do fire it up on gas, being sure that you have your propane on and the system purged before you do so. I'm going to go over that once we do get to our stove. Water pump, turning that on, draws out of your fresh tank. And then you got your different tanks. Pushing the button will tell you the corresponding level. Black 1, gray 1 is going to be for the back there. Black 2, gray 2 is going to be for this front. And auxiliary should be for your galley. Slide out controls. Before you ever run your slide out, it's always a good measure. Take a good look inside, make sure nothing's shifted during travel that's going to get caught between the slide out and the wall. And then of course on the other side of the slide, making sure you have enough room for the slide out to go all the way out without hitting anything. Once you do all that, you can run that slide out. Once the slide's at its full extension, you're going to hear the motors wind up and click. You hear the clicking, so you're at your full extension. Next, you can do the bedroom slide. While that's doing that, you got this controller here. This is to control that fan right up top, because it's going to be pretty high up there. Push the power button once, the controller illuminates itself. Push it again. Pushing that power on button automatically opens that up and turns the fan on. But with that vent lid open, you are going to notice we're opening straight into the atmosphere. So if it were to start raining, it is going to get wet inside here. That is, of course, unless you went with a max air cover. It's a cover that goes over top of there. Not only is it going to stop rain from getting in here, allowing you to use it during rainfall, it's going to protect you a little bit more against hail. And of course, if you were to get it open during travel, it's also going to help you out there. Pushing that power button one more time will drop that lid and turn it off. There's of course all the other individual controls underneath it. Next, you get your awning control. Push and hold that extend button. The awning's going to start making its way out. Now, unfortunately today, we won't be able to get this awning to its full extension just because of the space. It's a huge unit. I don't have enough room to run it all the way out. But once this was at its full extension, you'd see that back wall tube and the little flap hang down. Sometimes the flap can get stuck, so you might just have to retract it a couple feet and bring it back out, just to try and get that flap to come down. Now, if it were to start raining, you can take any arm front or rear, pull down at the center. It's going to change the pitch of the awning head, allowing water to now run off. Now, if you like that angle better, because it allows for more shade underneath, just make sure you do push both sides back to straight before you bring it in. That way it doesn't run the risk of bending anything. Always keep an eye on the wind speeds whenever you are putting your awning in or out. Just keep an eye on them. Doesn't take much to rip your arms or bend your fabric. Rip your fabric or bend your arms. Both get costly pretty quick. So that is going to be pretty much here for the control center. We'll take a step up into that front bunk area and that front bedroom. Once the arms, by the way, for the awning, once the arms do contact the side of the trailer, the motor automatically cut out. Power switch turns on this little entryway light, and then you do have your thermostat. Now, this thermostat does run both air conditioners. The only difference is when you're in zone 1, it's going to control the front air conditioner and the furnace. Zone 2 will be just your rear air conditioner for that back bedroom, but both are ducted all the way through, so no matter which one you're using, it will duct to the whole unit. It's going to work both ways. I'm just going to show you how to use zone 1. If you want to switch to zone 2, of course, with the system being off, you do just hit the zone 2 button. It'll bring you over to zone 2, and you would then be controlling the rear air conditioner. But on zone 1, you have to. But to go back to zone 1, again, to switch between zones, you have to have the system off. Otherwise, it's going to run both at the same time. Hit the power button, turns it on. It's going to bring you your last known setting. So in this situation, it is cool. Always making sure, I always recommend running that fan speed on automatic. It also means that it's in an on-demand system, so it'll kick in and out as needed. If you had that, sorry, pushed the wrong button. If you had that fan setting on either 1, 2, or 3, that fan will run continuously full time until you manually turn it off. So again, I recommend leaving in that cool feature. Hit the mode. That's going to take you from cool and bring you over to the heat. The heat is going to fire up the furnace. The furnace does only have one fan speed. It moves all its air through the floor portals you have throughout the unit, and it runs off propane. So again, making sure the system's purged before you do try and fire it is a good idea. Down from that, heat, I'm not going to fire it because it's so hot. You got fan, dry, which is dehumidifying mode, and then just back over to auto. So that'll kick in whatever it feels necessary, whether that be the furnace or the air conditioner. Of course, today, that is going to be the air conditioner. We're going to leave the air conditioner on just because it's so hot and humid here today. Opening up that door, sorry, should let the cameraman come by first. Get your light switch on your right. It's a pretty standard bathroom. There is one main GFI plug here, so if you ever have an outlet that doesn't work, just making sure that you check that this isn't tripped. Sometimes it can trip for the oddest reasons, but other than that, it's a pretty standard bedroom and a bathroom inside of here. And above my head, you got that another vent lid counter or clockwise to open it up, power button to turn it on. Again, it's going to be a good idea to get a max air cover on here. Just contact your parts department. They'd be more than happy to help you out. Turn the light switch off. That'll allow us to go into the bunk space. The light switch is on your left. If you wanted to mount a TV, they do have a reinforcement plate back here, so this is going to be the wall you want to do it on. They're also pre-plumbed and pre-wired for a washer-dryer combo. If you'd like to get set up with that, just contact your parts department. Again, they'd be more than happy to help you out. But even if you don't have If you don't have the washer dryer installed in here, you still do have to winterize these ports, so keep that in mind. Other than that though, it's your pretty standard bunk space. This one bunk does flip up, so you have a little couch underneath. Other than that, that is it for inside of here. Now down into the main living space. Beautiful living space, tons of counter space. You got your main entertainment center here. Sound bar, pretty much just like home. The only thing I'm going to tell you about is zone 1 and zone 2. Zone 1 will be your interior speakers, zone 2 will be your exterior speakers. You got a fireplace down below, power button on the far right. Button to the left of it changes your different flame colors. The button right in the center does your different rock light colors. 2 in from the left does your heat. Pushing it twice will get you into low. Pushing it again will get you into high. Then you got a timer that goes anywhere from 30 minutes to 9 hours. Power button on the right again to turn it off. Now, let's say you did have exceptional people to what you could fit in your bunk space, which I would find tough. This also does turn out into a bed. Just having to remove the cushions out like so. Grab at the foot of the couch, pull it towards you. It's like your standard hide-a-bed. And even if that's not enough space for you, your dinette space here, currently set up in a U-shaped dinette, perfect for eating, but it also does turn down into a bed. You're just having to remove these 2 feet from underneath the table, set the tabletop on its desired ledges, and take your back cushions to fill in the center. Again, you'd have yourself another sleeping space. Storage all throughout. Again, just be mindful of drained water lines and things like that. And coming into the kitchen, you got your microwave, which is pretty much just like home. Not much I'm going to show you there. And then you come to your stove. Now, I'm going to recommend whenever you first get to your campsite, you turn your propane on. I always recommend running your stove first thing, because when you turn the system off or disconnect one of the bottles that allows air into the system, once air makes its way in, it just have to be purged out. Again, quickest, simplest way to do that is just by doing your stove, because you get to decide how long the lighting sequence is for and how many sequences it goes through. If you want to go try to fire up your furnace, your water heater, those only do try lighting themselves a couple times before they'll throw a fault code, and it could throw a little wrench in your weekend. That's why I recommend coming here, turn it over to high option, hit the sparker. Now, because it's a gas stove, always remembering to be safe. If you don't see that sparker going off as you're running that gas valve, immediately turn it off, because if you were to get a buildup of gases, it could cause a minor combustion, and if your face was nearby, of course, you might lose some eyebrows and eyelashes. Again, that's going to be something you're going to want to avoid. Folding down here, getting the oven lights, the same kind of deal. Turning it over to the pilot, pushing and holding that knob in. Now, the oven can be exceptionally long to light. I know, again, it fired up pretty quick today. Don't expect it to happen every time. Sometimes it can take a few minutes, so just be patient with it. Again, you're going to get that pilot lit. Once the pilot can light and hold its own, you can turn it up to your desired temperature, and it does fire right on it. Now, because this unit's equipped with propane and all this propane talk, you got your LP detector right here near the ground. If that guy ever starts going off, don't panic. Just turn off the main supply of propane at the side, open up some windows and vents and get some fresh oxygen inside here. Again, another main GFI plug you have to worry about if you have an outlet that doesn't work. Double checking this. To my right, you have this beautiful freezer. Now, this freezer does have an ice maker built in, so you do have to make sure you winterize that as well. And noticing these travel straps. Whenever you're traveling, making sure you have those latched up. Failure to do so, these doors can just open up on their own. They don't lock in any sort of way, so it's going to be a good idea to keep these bungee cords here just to hold them in place. Again, tons of storage, and you're going to have tons of accent lighting throughout. You're going to kind of discover it as you walk through the unit. Now for the master bedroom, quite the beautiful space. You got your main fire exit for the unit. Grab this tab, pull it out. The screen's going to pop out of the way. You can take that handle, push it out, hop on out of the unit. Of course, trying to go feet first, but if there is a fire, just trying to get out as quickly as possible. But just keeping in mind, it is a little bit of a jump down if you're a shorter person especially. You're going to have another TV backer here in case you want to mount another TV. Coax outlets up top. Bed, you got plug-ins on both, USBs on both sides. Storage above your head. Again, you both get your own little lights in case there was two of you. If you grab the foot of the bed, you can pick up, and you do get an extra little storage space underneath here for any sort of blankets or anything you want to hide away. Now there's going to be tons of storage in here again, but it's another special note, noticing these latches, they're on these doors. These doors will slide freely. making sure you latch them up before travel. Again, otherwise you're going to cause some damage. So just double check those are locked. Once we do get into the bathroom, you got your light switch on your right. It's your pretty standard bathroom again, tons of storage throughout. Another note I'm going to mention, noticing that you do have this travel strap, especially on these doors. They're glass, very easy to break. You don't want to make sure those are locked up. And then on the wall, you got a vent lid switch. Turn the vent on with that one switch. You can open it up with the button. It is like a toggle switch, so you got to push and hold it. Makes its way open. Close it. Now that is going to be it for this unit here. If you have any other questions, feel free to give us a call.